to the first Unicorn Park Studio podcast. And here we are with our CEO Nikolina Zidar. And our topic today is women making games for women.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Nikolina Zidar and I'm a CEO of the Unicorn Pirates. And yeah, we're going to talk a bit about our motto for our company is Women Making Games for Women. And we're going to talk a bit more about that.
Yes. What does it actually mean, like games for women? Does it mean casual games or what kind of games?
No, I mean I worked with casual games before in my career when I worked in Rovio, and basically casual games are the games you're targeted for everybody who wants to have casual gaming experience. So it means a child or a male person, non-binary person, women. So anybody who wants to have something which is really easy to pick up and easy to leave. And it's designed like that. It's not designed specifically for the targeted section of the market. So that's a casual game. Games designed for women, it's a bit different. Games designed for women don't have to be casual at all. They could be mid-core or even hardcore. But we have to kind of make a differentiation about what it makes them games for women and what is a casual game. And this is something that I think haven't been looked upon at all in the gaming industry. Even when we look at these numbers, 51% of the mobile gamers in the Western world are women, but we're still kind of making casual games or mid-core games or hardcore games. I think that we should look into what women really want and start to focus on making games for women.
All right. Most of the games that you worked on have been mobile and in the free-to-play mechanic. Why don't you focus on other platforms or business models? Why is free-to-play so you?
Well, I have this theory about free-to-play. Why do I love it so much? Because it's very hated in the gaming industry still. It's 2019 and there's still lots of people who don't really accept it. I think that free-to-play really democratized the gaming. That's the word. I made up a word. Before mobile came on the scene, mobile free-to-play came to the scene, the games were, besides Facebook, the games were really behind. You had to have a powerful PC, you had to have a console, you had to invest in a specific piece of equipment. And then the games were done that most of them were fairly engaging, so you had to have a couple of hours to actually play those games. When the games became popular on mobile, especially free-to-play, suddenly everybody became a gamer. It's a whole new market opened up for people who never touched the games before. Now we have older people playing games. We have children playing games. We have lots of women, we call them soccer moms playing games because it's something that it's so easy to approach. Because if the game is for free and perceived free, and it's easily available on your mobile device, absolutely anybody can be a gamer.
Yeah, that's true. So getting somewhat back to the first and second question, but what is the future of games for women? Do you think this trend will grow?
Yes, we've seen in the last couple of years, if you look at the figure, we see there's more and more women coming on board and playing mobile games. But what most people don't look into, if you look in the trends in the countries, in the continents like Africa or Southeast Asia, that there's actually more female gamers appearing there as well. For example, there are some numbers showing that women in Africa are much faster to adopt new technologies and adopt a mobile, for example, like mobile banking and things like that. So I think there's definitely going to be more and more female gamers, not only from the Western markets, but also from the other global markets as well. This trend is definitely going to go.
All right.
Grow. Grow.
You are looking for funding right now. What are the biggest problems you've encountered while looking for funding?
Yes, looking for funding now. That's an adventure. Well, first there's so many problems. One of them is that there's very little female entrepreneurs actually there in this branch of the industry. So there's not many female founders and there's not many female startups. So it's, even when you talk about your problems, you want advice from somebody or you want to get help, it's just not there. It's a bit lonely place. On the second problem is because there's so little female founders and female entrepreneurs. We are looked a bit differently when we ask for money. We are judged more harshly, consciously or subconsciously. And honestly, I've been asked lots of stupid questions. To tell you the truth, that I can bet that when I spoke with my male counterparts, they were not asked. So it's been harder. Not only that I'm a female entrepreneur and this company has a female management, we are also mostly foreign or mixed. We are heavily mixed. There's also strong outspoken support for LGBT community as well. And I think that as much as everybody likes the idea of it, investors don't necessarily feel that they're comfortable investing in a company which is so strongly standing on these principles. I think another factor here as well is that we are very unshamefully commercial, that we do aim to be and have our games in the top 20 grossing, while lots of startups which would have such a diverse teams, they are very happy just making games. While we want to make games, we want to make very, very successful games. And that clash of strong values and strong commercial sense, it doesn't really gel that well with investors until now. But we are out there, we are looking, and we're hopefully going to find the right partners for us.
All right. Do you have any advice for new or aspiring female gaming entrepreneurs? And we could actually go back to the question number one, the inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the female entrepreneurs and female founders, you got me on a good day, so I'm just gonna go with the positive spin on it. I mean, it's hard, and by default, it's harder for you than for men, and that's just a fact. On the other hand, if you really want to do it. It's amazingly rewarding experience. You will have options open to you that you never even thought they exist. You will learn in such an enhanced pace that's incredible. I mean, me being an entrepreneur, I learned so much more about myself. I became a better person, I think. I became a better professional, I think. I think most people in our team also grew professionally and personally. So I think it's a very, very rewarding experience. And, I really feel like I'm giving something and I'm really living to my full potential. And don't let anybody put you down. You will find lots of people who are going to say your idea is stupid or you can't do it. Don't listen to those voices. You are the one who decides, can you do it? And is your idea good? And, we redefined our idea. We started one idea, we redefined it a little bit as we're going. So don't be afraid of pivot. If something is not working exactly as you planned, adjust it. But don't let anybody say that you can't do it. Yes, you can. So just go out and just do it. And, if any other female entrepreneur needs any advice or help, I'm happy to share my experiences and my network of contacts if needed.
All right. So does the inspiration come from the possibility of making history, maybe?
I think the inspiration initially came from frustration, to tell you the truth. I was working on the casual games, and I could see how hard it was to explain. Some things were very obvious to me as a woman that they wouldn't work or they would work. Took lots of effort to explain them to the men with whom I was working with. They were like great guys, by no means, but it was just that I could see, they don't actually understand female perspective. And then when you scratch the surface, when you look at the games they made for women, they were very juvenile. Like we are not 12, we are adults. We want to make games for the women who are above 25. And so most of the games were like either very juvenile or they were like very just like copies of each other. So, we make a successful game and then we just copy it, which is great to a certain point, but there's just as much as you can go with that. So I think it was a bit of frustration, and very often I encountered talking to people in the industry, they think making games for women and children is the same thing. And I was like, no, it's not. If you're a child, you are protected, and you should be protected from lots of different influences and lots of negative influences and things. If you're a grown-up woman, you have a job, you pay your bills, you own a car, possibly, you own an apartment, you run a family. You should be able to handle your entertainment as well. And very often I get like, oh, women will not understand this. Yes, we are also scientists. We understand a little bit more complex gameplay. And not everything has to be very juvenile. And so in that way, I think there is a real lack of content in gaming for adult women. And I think it was just a frustration that there's this huge market out there which is literally like craving for the content and that nobody is addressing. And when I digged into numbers, and when I looked into numbers from Newzoo and from the Google's research, Google did big research of the gaming industry a couple of years ago, and actually numbers confirmed that my frustration stands for something. I'm not the only woman who is frustrated about this, but I was the woman who is in position to do something. So this is the journey now.
Yeah, that's a really great answer, and I have to say a word. So what does it mean in practice, like making games for women?
One of the things that I've noticed is that the games that are aimed at women are very often very simplified. And that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. I think that what's important is that first the team is interesting to women. Like, I don't know if you guys played Love Nikki. Love Nikki is a mid-core RPG, but with a very strong team of fashion design, which is, of course, appealing to women. And it's not only about progression of the game, it's also about number of currencies and really deep meta game and merging and stuff. It's a proper RPG. And I think that is the first thing that mid-core and hardcore games might be interesting to women, what we consider mid-core and hardcore games, if the team is interesting to women. Secondly, very often thing that separates mid-core games from casual games, it's besides the gameplay, it's also very steep onboarding. That you're literally thrown into the deep end and you kind of have to figure out how to play the game by yourself. I think that women don't really put up with it very well. They're like, oh, I'm playing it, I don't get it, why would I be bothered? So definitely putting more emphasis on the onboarding of the player and explaining how the game actually plays out. So rather than throwing everything on the player. And of course, how female characters are portrayed in a game. So it's also like, that very often we see overly sexualized female characters or very juvenile. So we would actually like to see a presentation of the women as they really are, so the women can relate to these characters more because they're like more something that actually exists, not some fantasy with an insanely tight waist and enormously large breasts, going into battle with the armor which covers your head. Or your forehead only, or something like that. So I'm exaggerating, but we saw, basically. Yeah. Or even worse, like the Game of Sultans, where I guess it's supposed to be a game for women, where
you get pregnant.
Yes, your goal is to become first concubine. Like, really, is that our goal? That's what we want to play for? Or my favorite, like your baby is ugly. Really? I mean. So yeah, that's kind of things I wouldn't necessarily. That's not really what women want to see in the games.
Way too shallow.
Yes, and I said I don't think that most of the women want to play that or hear those stories. I think, and we can see the entertainment. Everybody's laughing at my obsession with Wonder Woman, but hey, Captain Marvel is here as well, and it's also hitting on the box offices. There is obviously a huge audience for strong female characters and portraying the women in a bit different way than I want to be a concubine on a Turkish Ottoman Empire court, or I want to be a half-naked sidekick in a battle. So yeah, I'm ranting now about it. So, but these are some of the aspects of I would say making games for women. So they will not necessarily have to be simple, and they don't necessarily have to be juvenile. They can tell more adult stories, they can tell deeper stories, they can have more harder or complex game elements as long as they're adjusted to the adult women tastes.
Yeah, that's a good answer. So that basically concludes our podcast. Thank you for your thoughts and inspiring words, and thank you everyone who listened in. Please follow us on social media and stay tuned for more podcast episodes.
Yeah, and thanks Paula for taking time to do this with me. Yeah.
Yay.
And hopefully somebody's gonna listen to this, and we might do it again, I guess.
Yeah.
Please, Paula, come. Stop. Yes. Yeah. I promise to make Paula rant more next time.
Oh, I have stuff to rant about.
So next time, join us when Paula's gonna be ranting, and I'm gonna be mostly nodding.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.